If you're a teacher, then chances are that you might not have everything that you would like to have in your classroom, partially because you're not entirely sure what you should be looking for in terms of technology. Depending on your district, you might already be pretty familiar with smartboards and you know exactly what they are. But if you don't already have one in your school or your classroom, then this is a great option. This product was sent to me for unboxing and review, but let's go through unboxing the HKMLC 55-inch 4K Smartboard, as well as the setup. Let's begin. This is a 55-inch screen, which means that the box will be quite large, almost as if it was carrying a TV for your living room, but it is so much heavier than that. Lay the box gently on the ground before beginning to do anything else. Then start cutting through these straps in order to access all of the staples and tape. These staples are not very easy to remove by hand unless you have a pretty strong stapler remover at home. However, if you don't, you can just use anything that happens to help you pry it open. I used a butter knife, for example. You have to go all around the box until you finally undo the staples from all sides of the box. Once that's done, you can finally just lift it open. This will reveal the full screen. Of course, there are 4 foam pads holding every corner of the screen in place and creating space between the cardboard and the screen, just to keep it protected. Just remove all of them as such. Inside, you will find quite a few accessories. You will get a manual that walks you through the setup process and functionality, as well as how to mount it, if you needed assistance with that. You also get a power connector, as this smartboard is not battery powered like most smartboards out there, and this will be the case for the vast majority of smartboards out there. You also get some antennas, a total of 4, in order to get a proper Wi-Fi connection to this board. You also get 2 styli included in the box. You even get a remote controller for navigating the smartboard from a distance. Then inside of this cardboard box, you'll get some mounting brackets and screws in order to wall mount this. It only came with a way of wall mounting it, but you can still mount it onto a TV stand if you would rather do that. That's exactly what I will do later on in this video. Then I lifted this to move it aside and get some extra space to remove the plastic, and then finally beginning installing the brackets on the back. As I mentioned earlier, I will be mounting this onto a TV stand, since I suspect that I will be moving this one around quite a bit for now. There are 4 holes in the rear, and this is where we need to screw our mounting brackets. You can use a drill for this section to make things easier. You will need to open the bag of screws, and for the top ones, you only need to use the screws and washers that you see on screen. Then you have to align the first bracket, either one of the 2 included, onto the back of the smartboard. To do this, you have to place the flat end on it like this, and the hooks on top will face downwards, while the bottom ones will face upwards. So drill these in. Now, if you're mounting this onto a stand like I am, I strongly recommend just laying the smartboard down as you see it here, because this is far too heavy to install the other way around. This will allow you to hook the base onto the brackets as you see it here. Once you've done so, you have to secure it with these longer screws. Just drill 2 of them onto the bottom of the bracket. One on each side. This will prevent the smartboard from slipping off. Once it's nice and secure, just lift the smartboard with lots of care. Everything should be nice and secure, and there shouldn't be any accident. Now let's just quickly go over all of the ports on this smartboard. If you look towards the right side of the smartboard that's having the display facing you directly, then you will notice that on that side, there is going to be the power connector, which is exactly what you have to connect the power plug into. Then right under that, there will be a power switch that will allow you to enable or disable the ability for the smartboard to receive power in case you would like to remove it from power for the entire night rather than just turning it on or off, which does still draw some energy while it is plugged in. This will disable that completely. Underneath that, you will find an antenna port or connection, and this is where you will put one of your antennas just a little later. And you will find two VGA ports, of which are going to have two different functionalities. One of them is going to be a VGA in and a VGA out. You will only need this if you would like to connect this to a laptop or device that requires a VGA connection. And you're actually even going to find a microphone in port, which is going to come in the form of a 3.5mm jack. There is also PC audio port in case you want to use that same connection in order to get audio from the PC directly or your computer. And there is even an optical out port, which will allow you to connect this to a more sophisticated sound system, such as actual speakers, surround sound setup, or anything of the sort. Then right underneath that, on the other side, that's going to be right under this plate, you're going to find an Ethernet port in case you want to connect this directly to your network without it being over Wi-Fi. You will also get a line out port, which is mostly going to do with other kinds of audio sources that you would like to use. Then additionally, you're going to find what is called here a touch port, which is just in the form of USB Type-B. You might not have to use this all too often, so don't worry too much about that. Then you get HDMI 2, HDMI 1, in case you want to use this with multiple HDMI compatible devices as a secondary display. You also get a USB 2.0 port as a slower port, and you get a USB 3.0 port if needed for those faster speeds. Next to that, you will get the other 3 antenna ports that you will be using in order to get the full Wi-Fi capabilities and support that the smartboard is capable of. And then finally, on the very front, you're going to find a power button. You're going to find some LED indicators that will tell you when the device is on, and they will also tell you whenever your remote or other accessories are making a direct impact or connection with this smartboard. You also get a USB-C port if that is something that you need, considering that that is a port that we use a lot nowadays. You will also get an HDMI port, which is useful. You even get another USB Type-B port if you need that, and 2 USB-A ports that come in the form of USB 3.0 ports, which are a lot faster than one of the 2.0 ports on the back. Now, before we do anything else, we need to make sure that we screw on every antenna that it comes with. This came with 4, and you should just install all of them to ensure that the Wi-Fi connection is as reliable and stable as possible when communicating with the smartboard. Those are located on the back towards the bottom. You don't need any screws, so just twist them until they are nice and secured. All that we have to do is plug this into power, and finally turn it on. First, you will be greeted by this intro animation, but it will quickly take you to the main screen. This is a touch-enabled smartboard, so you should be able to navigate the menus with your finger if you want to. This is running on a version of Android for smartboards, which means that this platform should be familiar to Android users, although these are built to ensure that the learning curve is as small as possible. It's a simple interface that is pretty easy to acclimate to. Another method of controlling the smartboard is through the included remote, which acts as exactly what you see. You can use this with AAA batteries, and you can navigate the menus with the arrow buttons and the OK button. You can also power on or off the smartboard remotely if you needed to. In order to connect to Wi-Fi, you have to navigate to your settings and choose your Wi-Fi network. Then enter your password as you would on any smart device. Then you should be good to go from there. There are also screen mirroring features available which are compatible with Windows computers, Macs, Android devices, and even iPads. I tried mirroring my iPad on this display, so it gives me the iPad's aspect ratio, but if the signal is coming from a 16:9 or higher aspect ratio display, then it should show as expected without any black bars. Also, you have a web browser available which lets you search the web, of course, including being able to access Google Slides or other forms of presentations, and even access YouTube for videos. When you're watching videos, especially 4K content, this screen really shows off what it can do quite nicely. And of course, since you've got two pens, you can draw and write on the screen. There's a Notes app available that lets you draw, use templates for shapes, rulers, split screen so that multiple people can draw and write, and so much more. This will be very useful for having math problems on board, taking notes from your students, or even have them post their thoughts for a specific class topic. There are also more functions available on this smartboard, such as the ability to download more apps, accessing timers, and other features that are generally useful in a classroom. But all of this will have to wait until the full review is ready. Overall, I believe that this is a pretty good value for teachers who don't want to overcomplicate things and just want to modernize their classroom. There's no such thing as a budget smartboard, but these smartboards are usually a great investment because they help when it comes to keeping chalk out of the classroom, a cleaner environment, and to have a display that allows you to present whatever you need digitally, including presentations, of course. Please make sure to stay tuned for the full review, as I will discuss all of its features in much more detail when the time comes. With that said, have a wonderful day and happy teaching.